I'm about to tell you about the best deal I ever bought as far as appreciation is concerned, and why it was part luck and part skill on my part. Next on Deal Files.
Welcome to the Saucetown Investor Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Matt Cox. This is the Saucetown Investor Podcast, and this is Deal Files number 3. This was a really cool deal. This is the best I've ever done on a purchase as far as how much the value of the home has gone up. The value of the home has basically doubled since I purchased this thing. So I'm gonna tell you why. To start real quick from the top. So the address here, this home is located at 566 West Ida Street in Stayton, Oregon. For those of you guys that don't know, Stayton is about 25 minutes outside of Salem, really small town out there by Sublimity and Almsville, little place just outside of Salem. Now, as far as how I found this deal, this was the first property that I ever purchased from a wholesaler. And people ask me, how do you find deals? How do you find wholesalers to work with? I have basically one wholesaler in the state of Oregon who I have bought countless deals from. I'm going to shout them out right now. They're called Discount Property Wholesalers. There are a lot of, to put it bluntly, there are a lot of sketch balls in the wholesaling industry, and that's why it has kind of a bad reputation. A lot of it is for good reason. It's a lot of people trying to make a quick buck, and sometimes they'll put out really bad numbers and try to kind of trick newer investors into buying deals that are going to lose them money. These guys are awesome, and this is the first deal that I ever bought from them. I went on to buy, as of today, it's definitely double digits. I bought a ton of deals from these guys. I'm going to estimate it at probably 15. So they're really good people. Enough on them though, but shout out to DPW, shout out to Brad Taylor, really good people in this industry, and happy to connect anybody if you want to DM me and find your next flip or rental. So I bought it from Brad and them at DPW. I went out to look at this deal, and this is right at the height of COVID. I believe it was in the open house, I think was in July of 2020. So nobody's buying anything. Everybody's still scared. And I talked about this. In a lot of cases, the best time to buy, whether it's stocks, real estate, etc., is when everybody else is scared. Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. People say that and then they don't actually execute on it. So I bought this. It was off market, went to the walkthrough. There were very few people there. Again, everybody thinks the world's coming to an end. They don't want to buy real estate. Little do they know real estate is going to absolutely rip over the next couple of years. So, but some of it's luck, some of it's skill. I will 100% say, this property doubling in value is not based on any skill on my part. That's just the market going up. What I will take some credit for, though, is buying when everyone else was scared to death to hop in the market, and people were batting down the hatches and saying, let's wait for this thing to pass over. I said, no way, I'm gonna buy, and I'm gonna stay aggressive. So when I bought this, I paid $207,000. The house needed a little bit of work, not a ton. That sounds crazy now to pay $207,000, but it was actually, I think the wholesaler Brad was pretty happy to get that price for it. They did really well on it, and I ended up doing really well also. It's not a zero-sum game. Everybody can make money in these deals. So I bought it. This was the only deal, along with my dad, that we went out there and actually did a chunk of the work ourselves. we painted, did landscaping, some of the easier stuff that we could handle. And then kind of a cool story from this one. This is actually how I found my long-term contractors. A lot of people, in fact, we could do a whole episode about this, will ask, like, how do you find good contractors? And there's some methods to do that, but here's how I found mine. So this was the first house I'd ever bought that actually needed some work and some renovation done to it. The other stuff was basically move-in ready. Um, so I hired this group that was recommended by a family friend. They went out there and frankly just did a really, really piss poor job. The guy who we were referenced through to subcontracted it out to another group, and the work was shoddy, like the drywall didn't look right, they left a mess. It was really bad. So I contacted them, and then they apologized, and then they sent out a different subcontractor to basically clean up the work and make it look right and make things right. And so these guys came out there, and they shout out Cody and David. They've done countless deals, so much work for me. I mean, we've done so much business together in the last 5 years, but this is how we met. They came out there, they fixed up these other guys' work. They were super professional. And then this happened, okay? While they were at the house, I was there too. The first floor ceiling breaks through, like literally the ceiling, not the entire ceiling, but probably, a 3 by, probably a 2 by 2 piece of the ceiling just caves in. And I'm like, remember, keep in mind, this is my first deal I've bought that actually needs a renovation. So I'm like, oh my God, the sky is literally falling. The ceiling and the sky are falling. And these guys, they're calm, cool, collected. I told them the situation. They didn't have to do this. They hooked me up with a really good deal on it. They fixed it. They got everything right. And, I think they were thinking, of course, they're good guys to begin with, but they were thinking long term. It's not how much money can I get out of this guy today? Let's do a really good job on this. Let's take care of him. And I have paid these guys now, I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars with these guys, and it all stems back to this first deal. When someone else did a bad job, they came in and did a good job. And we've been very, very successful working together. So that's kind of a lesson on just relationships with contractors, business associates. You never know when you're gonna meet somebody that you're gonna do a ton of business with. So just do right by people all the time. So this was a BRRRR deal, the first BRRRR deal I ever did back. Rates. I still have this thing. The rate's 3.25% on a non-owner occupy, which is unthinkable these days. So for those that don't know, a BRRRR deal, BRRRR, might be too many R's there, stands for buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, repeat. There you go. I think I got it right. Hey guys, we're taking a quick break, but before we get back into it, if you're enjoying this episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us to keep bringing you more valuable content. And if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, don't forget to leave a review. Please, it makes a huge difference. All right, let's get back to it. So you buy the house, usually needs a little bit of work. You bring cash to purchase it, which is how I bought this one. Then you do the work, okay? And it's assumed you do this work. You're buying it for below market. That's what I did here because I was a cash buyer. It's off market. Then you're renovating it to raise the value. You're moving a renter in so that it starts cash flowing. And then you go back to the bank and you refinance it. And if you do it right, you can get all of your money back. You basically get a free house. Obviously, there's a loan on it, but with $0 out of pocket, you're getting a house that has a bunch of built-in equity and cash flows. And that's exactly what we did here. So like I said, I bought it for 207. I think I poured wasn't a ton, maybe like 15 grand into it. We got it appraised. It appraised in like the 285 range, I believe. And anyway, I got every single dime back out of it. And my monthly payment, I got a 30-year mortgage on it when I completed my BRRRR and refinanced. The monthly payment is right around $1,100. And year one, I rented it out for $1,900. So that's it. I mean, we talk about on this podcast, some deals you have to be patient with. You're not always going to get an amazing deal day one. That was not the case here. This thing was pretty much a home run day one. Okay. You get a house with no money down. You get a bunch of built-in equity. You get monthly cash flow. So 1900 minus 1100 cash flowing $800 day one, of course, caveat, count for repairs and things like that. But this was a heck of a deal. And so then by year two, it rented out for $2,250. I actually rented it to the city, or excuse me, not the city, the Stayton Hospital, which is a great, and that I haven't done a ton of this, but I know people that crush it by renting to businesses. It's really good as long as it's a, a solid business that isn't going to go out of business tomorrow or something. It's very safe money. They pay, they always pay on time. It's usually a really good tenant from what I've heard from other people. Don't come for me when you rent to a business and they trash your house. But from what I've heard, that's usually the case. So we're renting for $2,250 year two. We're cash flowing about $1,150 a month. We got all this equity. It's crazy. And then so here's another lesson though. That was a high rent. We actually had rents come back down. I think I had to rent it for $2,100. Maybe it was the year after that. But that's a lesson there. There's this narrative that rents always go up. They don't. They usually do. Long term, they generally go up with inflation. But rents don't always it's not a like hard and fast law that your rent goes up every year. We've seen a lot of talk about this. I saw somebody the other day. It was like, my landlord always raises the rents the max 10% allowed by Oregon. And it's like that we as landlords, we don't get to just raise the rent 10%. If the market tells us that we're priced too high, we have to lower our rents. And that's what happened here. So anyway, I rented it these last few years. I've owned it. So we're at about almost the 5-year mark of ownership now. And I'm actually getting ready to sell this house. I keep talking about how good this deal is. I want to tell you, I don't want it to be all rainbows and unicorns. I want to shoot straight with you guys. The last tenant I had was absolutely awful. She started off decent, and then she owes me about $5,500 right now, I believe. I finally got her out of the house. She really, and guys, I talk trash about tenants sometimes on this pod. Most of my tenants are freaking awesome. It's a very simple relationship. They pay rent and I provide them with a safe, hospitable place to live with electricity and water and all that good stuff. So the landlord tenant relationship is supposed to be pretty simple. But these people, she started breeding puppies in the house. She moved random like tweakers into the house. In fact, I was in Oregon a few weeks ago and I went to see the house and I opened the door and this woman's just living in there. I don't know who she is. So really fun stuff. The renter screwed me out of about I think it's $5,500 or something. Then I had to pay this woman another $2,500 just to get her to leave. She's not on my lease. She has no real rights to the house, but they know exactly how to play the system. And basically my options were pay her to leave or spend the next 2 to 3 months going through the court system and trying to get her out of there and spending 3 times as much on legal. And the best part is she knows all of that. She's an expert at playing the system. So anyway, long way of saying, not everything about this deal was perfect, but I am at the point I'm getting ready to sell it. Not because I don't like the deal. I'm slowly trying to transition my portfolio to some bigger stuff. And so this house today, we'll see, the market always tells you what your house is actually worth. But it's probably worth about $400,000. And the loan on it's we're at like 180-ish is owed on the loan. So that's a lot of equity that's sitting there not doing a whole lot for me. You'll hear, I didn't really use this metric much until recently, but you'll hear people talk about return on equity. And a guy I talked, he put it really simply. So this house, it makes about $1,000 a month, and there's about over 200 grand of equity sitting there. And this guy told me, he goes, if your cash flow, if it requires 20 years of cash flow for you to get what you could get in one day by selling the house, it might be time to sell your house. And that's the case here. It's hard to let it go because it has such a low mortgage rate, and I don't want to refinance it because then my rate jumps to 6.5% or whatever it is right now. If people tell you, you can get a HELOC on it, but honestly, I think the best move long term for me with what I'm trying to do with my business and buying larger apartments and things like that is to just get liquid from this. So we are about 2 weeks. There's a renovation we have to do. We're putting in some new floors, paint, just making the place look pretty before we get ready to rent it. But the plan is to go on market here in about a week. If you know anybody looking in Stayton, Oregon, you can hit me up. I may even give you a finder's fee on it. We want to get it sold as soon as possible. I'm going to 1031 exchange it. So you guys can Google that, or I can do a full episode about what a 1031 is. But basically, it's a way that if you sell a investment property, you can pay zero taxes on it if you use the money to purchase a new larger property. So in this case, I take this single family home, I pour the money into a 12plex or whatever after this. I don't have to pay any taxes on it. Talk to a 1031 expert. I'm not that. There's a lot of rules about what you do with the money, and you need to do it right, or else you will get hit with taxes on it. So that's a bit about this property. Overall, things are working out really well on it. I learned a bit, had some tenant nightmares, but it cash flowed really well for a lot of years, and it fit my business plan. And it taught me how to do BRRRR deals, which as we go through more of these deal files, you'll see how many of those I end up doing in the next year or two after this. And then it helped me to meet my contractors too, who I do business with today. So this was a really cool deal. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions about how to do any of this stuff, I just reach out. I nerd out on real estate all day. I'm not going to try to get you to buy a course from me or anything like that. I'll give you anything I know for free. So hope you guys enjoyed. That is a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Saucetown Investor. If you got value from this, drop us a comment and let us know your thoughts. Did you have a big takeaway? Is there a topic you want to see us cover next time? Is there a guest you want to see interviewed? DMs are open. Business is at Saucetown Properties, and my personal, you can DM me personally, is at The Real Matt Cox 4. We'd also like to ask you kindly to please like and subscribe. You can also follow along with the Saucetown Investor blog. That's mattcox444.substack.com. Thanks again, guys, and until next time, keep investing and stay saucy, Saucetown.